name is Ella Erwin with KCR College Radio, and I'm here with Blind Fortune today. Hi, guys. How you doing?
What's up? Howdy, partner.
Stoked to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming in. Would you guys like to go around and introduce yourselves?
My name is Blake. I do the vocals.
My name's Connor. I play guitar.
My name is Charlie. I play bass.
My name's Taj. I play guitar.
And I'm Tyler, and I play on the drums.
Awesome. So good to meet up with you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about Blind Fortune and where you guys came from and just kind of your origin story, if you will?
Yeah, for sure. I think me and Tyler, we've been jamming together since we were like 16. We started playing music together, and learned our instruments together. So just kind of always been making music together, always hanging out and stuff. And we had a band that we formed, kind of fell apart during COVID. And then after a few years, we decided we were always jamming, but we decided to actually try to start something again. And we got Blake on, and he was really good at vocals, and his screams were awesome. So we were like, fuck yeah, let's try to do something,
Yeah.
So you guys kind of grew up together, right?
Yeah. Me and Tyler have known each other since we were like 8 years old. It's crazy.
Aw.
And us three just all grew up in Reno together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, in Reno, that's right, yeah. Sweet. Where do you guys get the inspiration for your sound, and what genre do you describe Blind Fortune as?
I think more so like post-hardcore, I think post-hardcore emo, there's so many different genres and subgenres, so it's really hard to categorize yourself. I feel like it feels a lot better like hearing it from an outside perspective, because when you write, you know what you want it to be, so you're going to put it as that. But someone else who hears it and has nothing to do with the writing process and the creative process of your music, I feel like it's a lot more genuine hearing it from them. But I think we're like post-hardcore, just to kind of sum it up.
That's at least our inspirations, that we grew up on, like Citizen, Title Fight, stuff in that area
Nice.
of music. But
Yeah.
One Step Closer. They're
Yeah.
dope. Love them.
emo with like a hardcore twist on it sometimes. But
It's hardcore you can cry to. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
everyone's... Dude, they were telling me about this one dude that came up to them saying that he was moshing and crying.
we played this hardcore show in National City, and then this dude came up to me after the show. He's like, yo, that was fucking awesome. Like, I was moshing, but I was crying too, man, the whole time.
That's kind of awesome.
It's like-
It was super cool, yeah, because
Yeah.
fools were dancing, and I love seeing fools get down to our music, because we have breakdowns, and we play a lot of fast stuff, a lot of two-steppy stuff, and to see fools actually getting down to it is really awesome, like
Yeah.
feeling it.
How do you feel about performing live versus like recording?
Recording is different because it has to be perfect,
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot more pressure to be perfect in that scenario, especially when you're, like, paying for it, or you're probably paying a lot of money, and you're like, fuck, we only have X amount of time, so we have to get it right now. Personally, for me, that's how it is.
yeah, I mean, they're pretty similar in that respect too. Like, as like on stage, you're training and practicing up to that point, and then you just perform. And
Yeah.
then there's like that, that 25, 30-minute set that you have to show what you've been practicing for the last few weeks. But I think it's a lot more easygoing than sitting in a studio, like
Dude, it's the other
trying
way
to,
for me.
yeah.
It's opposite for me. I get
Oh, for
nervous
real?
before shows, and I think I'm like, oh, I overthink, like, am I gonna play this right? Am I gonna do this right? But in the studio, I can kind of lock in, so it's kind of fun. In the studio, it's nice.
Gotta lock in, bro.
Yeah. We got a big old whiteboard in our living room now, just like all of our goals on it.
Aw, that's
Lock in,
awesome.
Lock in is
Just lock in.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, lock in.
The title is Lock In.
Calm little whiteboard.
That's awesome. Taj and Charlie, can you tell us a little bit about your journey joining Blind Fortune? I know you
Yeah.
guys are recent additions to the band. So.
Yeah, so I played in another band, and we one day we had a show with Blind Fortune up in Hesperia somewhere, and I met these guys, and we kind of kicked it off right away, and ever since then, I wasn't really too close with them, and then I found out they're moving down to San Diego, and we played another show with my other band, and some time went on. Their other guitarist left, so I filled in the spot. Same with the bassist, and known Charlie for a while, so I told him to hop in.
Me and Taj are in another side project, and he he just told me about Blind Fortune. He joined, and then one day we were at the beach, and I saw Connor, and they needed a bassist for a show coming up. I sticked around a couple of weeks after that, and now I'm a permanent member.
Aww.
It was pretty crazy. Like
So cool.
even like after like the first few practices and like playing that show, it was just like, okay, dude, like
Yeah, it was
Just
pretty
learned
sick,
this
honestly.
stuff.
How
Yeah.
it all
All right, you're
just
in. Yeah.
happened.
Mm.
And
That's
then
tender.
you guys came to our first show in San Diego too, right? At
Oh,
at
yeah.
Queen Bee's.
Yeah.
That was
For a
really cool.
different reason though.
Yeah, definitely different. But that was still like the first encounter I ever
Yeah.
had like with you and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's way different now. You know, now we're in a band.
That's so sweet. I remember Connor a while back mentioning like, yeah, if anyone's gonna join our band, like it has to be like a good bond of like
Yeah.
people we trust
Yeah.
and love, you know, and that's a
Mhm.
special like connection and relationship to have someone.
Absolutely.
If
I
this
think-
band didn't exist, I would still be friends with these guys. Like,
Yeah.
the
100%.
friendship is like bigger than anything, and that's why I love this band so much. It doesn't feel like I'm doing work. It just feels like I'm hanging out with some
Not a
friends.
chore,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like first time I'm like actually hung out with Taj, we went surfing together, and I was like, I hate my board, and he was like, oh, dude, I'll bring you a board, and then we're surfing. He's like, yeah, you can have it, you know.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
Crazy.
Good
Good
stuff.
guy. Real-
Yeah,
real good
that's
guy.
that's one thing that's cool. We do like a lot of shit outside of music together, like skating and surfing, and it's so much
Drinking
fun.
beer, you know.
All the above.
Yeah, definitely.
Love that energy. Do you guys, speaking of like surfing and skating, that's kind of the culture here in San Diego.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the music scene culture in San Diego? I know it's kind of a lot. Like there's a lot going on.
It's
but-
saturated for sure. I think it's like naturally gonna feel kind of competitive because it's so saturated. You know,
Mhm.
like everybody's trying to make a name for themselves, and that's all anybody's really trying to do is like leave a mark. You know. And
Totally.
so
A big band comes to town, and there's 6 other bands trying to get on the bill.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you're like,
dude, yeah.
kind of feels like a competition, but it's not because you're all creating art in your own
Yeah.
way. But I think when it comes to like trying to get your name out there, that's the only time it really feels competitive. But
yeah,
I think outside of the like psychedelic surf rock scene and like the indie
Yeah.
scene, there's not
I think
a lot
that's
of
probably the biggest like music scene in San
Yeah,
Diego would
for
be
sure.
like
So
the
when I-
indie like
when
so-
I think of like the scene in San Diego, that's what I think of, you know,
Mhm.
because it's huge and everybody's doing it, and that's where there's like 150 bands. You
probably
know?
hard to stand
Yeah.
out in that community
Yeah,
as
exactly.
well.
So trying to find like other people to play with that also play like post-hardcore, like it gets difficult. So we end up playing like a lot of hardcore bills just because we fit more in that area. And the hardcore
Mhm.
scene in San Diego is awesome too. There's so many good bands coming out of here right now.
Yeah.
But
the first band too that we mentioned was an indie band too for the most part. You
What
know.
band?
The band that me and Connor were in before
Oh,
this
yeah.
one. So like we came from like everybody comes from their own backgrounds, you know. But like I see, you know, the indie scene is like very welcoming and very. That's what I feel like
Yeah,
it's the most
totally.
common around here.
easy to play.
Yeah,
you know,
or it's just easy to dance. It's easy to party to or
Yeah.
whatever. All you know, it's
Or
part
just
of the culture.
popular in like a house show setting. I feel like that's
Yeah, I mean, it's
the
usually
majority of like
calmer,
ones around
upbeat.
here.
Everybody likes it, you know.
Yeah,
so.
those were the first shows I went to here in San Diego.
Absolutely.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, honestly, the hardcore scene is super competitive because there's so many bands that are coming out and they're playing. And at this point, I can't tell the difference in like some hardcore bands because they have like similar names. So San
Mm.
Diego's hardcore scene is right now it's like popping off, but it kind of seems like everyone wants to be in a hardcore band now. So it's kind of hard to find like a band that stands out from them to like play with. And I feel like Blind
Mhm.
Fortune, it still has hardcore like vibes to it, but it's more emotional. And yeah, hopefully, I mean, we have some cool shows coming up in San Diego and stuff. So
Yeah, tell us about those.
Mm-hmm.
Plug it.
yeah, well, I'm not too familiar in the dates.
No, I got
April 27th, we're going to be playing a show with a band called Field Rush. They're from San Diego. They're amazing. They're so
Mhm.
sick. Some of the coolest guys we've met down here and had the opportunity to play with before. And then this band, Gem, is coming from Arizona to play that show as well. Somewhere in, I think, El Cajon, I don't know. It's a DIY venue. It's super cool.
Oh,
We'll
cool.
have the
It's in,
flyer on our
like
Instagram.
City Heights, I think,
Um,
or something like that. But,
and then we have a show with this band called Glass Generation at Humble Heart, and that's June
Nice.
22nd. That one's going to be super cool too. And then after that, we have a show at the Shea Cafe.
We got Vegas too.
Yeah. Fuck, we got a couple.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
When's the Shea one?
The Shea one is July 7th, right?
July 5th.
It's the 5th or the 7th?
We don't know.
All this information
Hey,
is
man,
going
it's
to
the
be on
5th
their
or the 7th.
Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. We'll
Blind
post the flyers
Fortune.
as they come up. And that one's going to be really cool. It's going to be with our other project, Thrown Away, and then a band called Imbalance. They're from...
Somewhere.
I don't know. Somewhere in California, yeah. They're really cool, though. It's going to be more of like a pop-punky show. It's going to be awesome. But,
Very sweet.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to be debuting some of your new music, right?
Yeah, so we're
Live.
currently writing a lot of stuff right now. We just put out 2 singles a few months ago and like a month and a half ago. And they're awesome. They're called Absolution and Penance. They're out on all streaming platforms. And those were a lot of fun to make. And those were the first songs that Taj wrote with us. And we got to go record them up in San Jose with our buddy Toshio.
Nice.
Really cool experience.
Toshio is so cool. I play video games with him and stuff. So that's
Aw.
how we keep the connection going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Dude, that studio, that was the first time I've been in a real studio. It blew my mind. Like, all my favorite bands up on the walls and stuff, like, recording there.
Yeah.
So, like, it kind of felt a lot of pressure to, like, go and record because I barely, like, knew these guys at the time, and I didn't know what to do with, like my guitar, like, music-wise. I've never been in a good studio, but that was probably, like, one of the best experiences I could have
Yeah,
ever had.
Toshio really helps out a lot with everything too, like
Yeah.
instrumentally, fundamentally, like with Blake with vocals, like
Mm-hmm.
anything he can, and like outside of music entirely, he's just such like a good guy. You know,
Yeah.
he's so good
Aw.
to be around and like funny and just.
Yeah, he
amazing.
stayed there late till, like,
Yeah.
12
Yeah,
at night.
He
He
works
did like
with
a
us.
14-hour day with us.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any like pre-recording like ritual thing or anything before the shows or anything that you're like
Game day.
Yeah. Game day is just game day is eve, the night before the show.
yeah, get you in the mood for it?
I like a beer or two, kind of.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Awesome.
I probably talk shit to myself to like make myself like able to do it, you know,
Mhm.
like, little things like that.
Long Island Club.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk any more about your new music and the vibe you're setting for what's next for Blind Fortune?
Yeah, for sure. That's actually that's a really good question. We were talking about that today, and like for the past few days, that's what we've been talking about probably the most. Is just we set like a precedent of what our LP is going to be like when we go to record it by dropping the 2 new singles that we just did. So I think trying to match that sound and figure out what our sound is going to be has been like the biggest conversation, you know, and just not hard to figure out, but it's a lot of work, you know, because we're trying to let everybody independently be more creative, you know, instead of feeling like one person or 2 people are like kind of running it, you know, like we want everyone to like
Collab.
yeah, and do exactly what they want to do, you know, and like explore all their options. And I don't want to make boring music, you know. I think that's the biggest part. I really want our music to stick out, and not just to other people, but to us as well. And I'm really proud of everything we've created, but we're going through like growing pains right now, just trying to figure out everything that's going on and what everybody's feeling and where to go next, you know.
Yeah.
That's always like the question though, being a band. Like with the 2 songs we dropped.
What's next?
Yeah. How do we keep the same energy but keep growing at the same
Yeah,
time? It's
Well,
like,
Yeah.
it doesn't help that you have 2 new members, too. I mean, it's a whole, you have to, like,
it
kind of...
certainly
Yeah,
helps.
definitely.
Well, it helps in a way, but it's also, like, hard to kind of, like... We don't fully know the vibe. I know we play the music from the past, but, I mean...
Bring your own
Writing new
vibes.
music with a new band, it's hard to like get out of my creative box of like writing only pop punk riffs or hardcore riffs.
Yeah.
So you have to think different. Like me and Charlie have been trying to adjust to this.
Yeah.
But it's really
I would do
nice.
those-
But it
those-
does
They're doing
help
great,
that
too.
it does help that we played together already.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
Know? So
Dude,
that's a
there-
good
There's
thing.
an undeniable like new flavor you guys bring though. and,
Hell
like,
yeah.
And it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Hell
so
yeah.
awesome.
That's great. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about real quick to put out into the public air?
Stream Blind Fortune.
Yeah, we
Listen to our
kinda
shit. If
do-
you're a post-hardcore band or along those lines in San Diego or the surrounding areas, hit us up to play a show, you know. Definitely want to do that.
Yeah, we'd love that. And like we said, we got that whiteboard with all our goals, and we're steady climbing to reach those. You know, we're kind of going up in exposure. Charlie and I and all of us have been trying to just go out and put our name out as much as possible to everybody we meet, and just keep kind of make our own scene among this super vast scene. So be nice if you guys would help. So
Amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming in today.
Yeah,
Thank you for having us, Ella.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Awesome.
thank you.